Hey guys, it's Graham. What's cracking? This is my update on comics for the last week. I had three that I picked up on Wednesday. One of them was Redcoat number 13 from Ghost Machines. I got Absolute Batman number 10. And the other comic I've been looking forward to called Ghost Pepper. I saw an advertisement for it a couple of months ago. Looked cool, interesting premise. Picked it up, and it was a little bit tricky. We'll talk about it. Absolute Batman 10, I'll just do kind of a quick review here. This is the second issue with Absolute Bane. At the end of the last one, Batman's friend, Bruce's friend Waylon, was captured, and Bruce went looking for him, and he also got himself captured by Bane. And it was hinted he was going to be locked up and put into some kind of surgery prep. In this one, it's basically like he wakes up in a situation kind of like those Saw movies. He doesn't have a contraption attached to him or anything, but he doesn't know that he's in an experiment. And he keeps trying to escape, and they keep sending Bane to trap him and bring him back, and they keep learning about him, and they start doing surgical stuff to him. He gets the crap kicked out of him by Bane a lot, but it shows the different inventive things that Bruce does to try to escape as they try to break his spirit. My favorite part of this one was when he actually finds Waylon in the prison. And if you're familiar with the Batman Rogues Gallery, Waylon is Killer Croc. And with all the surgery and experiments and stuff that they've been doing on prisoners in this little mini Arkham spot, obviously they start doing stuff to Waylon and they turn him into like a human crocodile. My expectation was that they'll somehow turn Bruce into Man-Bat from the comics, but I don't know. I could be completely misreading that. But there was this series of flashbacks between Bruce and Waylon where Waylon got a boxing match on TV back in the day and he needed Bruce to train him. And Bruce trained him even though he didn't think that Waylon could win the fight. And he's drawing on that memory because, like, hey, they're in a bad situation now and they need to win this fight and get out. There's that little seed there that makes the story extra meaningful. Like it could be cool and fine on its own if it's just them trying to escape this kind of horror movie situation, but there's that little extra seasoning on top when it's based on like a memory of them doing something difficult together. So that was Absolute Batman 10. It was crazy, but really, really good. Nick Dragotta needs to always be the artist on this series. Redcoat number 13 was great. This was the third issue with the Northerner. He's a time traveler who is chasing another time traveler who went back in time to alter the ending of the Civil War. And Northerner's a black guy. Like he's in this future, the Confederacy wins and slavery continues, and so he obviously wants to see that change. There's a bit of a growth arc for Simon. The tricky thing with what they've done with Simon so far is that all through Volume 1 of Redcoat, you find out like he's been the same kind of debaucherous loser for 100 years. But what he goes through in that first one at the end of the 1890s is the beginning of his character arc where he decides to start being a decent guy. But that means that he survived the entire Civil War without being a decent guy, getting involved, or doing anything good. And so this flashback to this interaction with the Northerner, it kind of shows like how he decided to do something in the Civil War without really undoing the arc that came later, I guess. It's a hiccup that you can kind of give yourself problems with when you're writing time travel. It's like, oh, we had an arc and then we wrote this thing before the arc. Like, oh, crap. In the end, it shows that he decided to trade in his red coat for a while to put on a blue and join the Union to fight during the Civil War. And he's like, I didn't make too big of a deal about it. I didn't jump in and make a splash on any significant events, but he ultimately decided to pick a side because he and the Northerner helped a little black girl escape slavery, and he's like, okay, I can do this. So the big bombshell ending of that one is that the Northerner and Redcoat defeat this cobbler, time traveler guy, but the cobbler's like, no, there are more coming. We're going to do something to make the South win. And the time travel thing pulls the Northerner back into the future, and he ends up right in front of Geiger and Barney. And so we'll see where that next arc of the Geiger books goes. But that was really cool. And then Ghost Pepper. So this one, it wasn't making sense until I got to the end, and not because of like, oh, the book made sense because of how they wrote it. It's like, no, I read some of the letters page afterward, and it's like, weirdly, this explains it. In a sense, this is a very European comic. The author is French, and I've dabbled in a little bit of like French cinema and French novels and stuff, and there's a certain je ne sais quoi to that style of writing where you've almost got to read it twice and get all the way to the end and then be like, okay, I get how this all comes together. There are times when things will just jump and you'll be like, wait a minute, what happened at the end of the last scene? What are we doing here in this next one? What's going on here? The way that it was written, the way that it was drawn, you'd hop around a lot. And it wasn't until you got to the end and you could put enough of the pieces together that you'd have an idea of what's going on. It's kind of out in space. It's on some different planet. There's some post-apocalyptic is the wrong word, but maybe like post-war event. There's this powerful entity in charge, and they defeated a different powerful entity, and there's a guy that they locked on, like kind of in prison on a distant moon, and he's the only one on it. He's kind of like a superhuman type character, but he's the only person on this moon that, no food, no supplies, no atmosphere. He just walks around up there, and the bad guys are like, aha, yeah, you're trapped. And then it turns out that this dude has, I don't know, like a brother or a twin or something, and he's on the planet where the bad guys are, and they're like, oh crap, there's another one. This guy's not supposed to be free. Capture him. And he's got super strength and invulnerability, but it seems like there might be some memory issues going on. I don't know. So as little as I understand everything that's set in this world, the way that it was drawn and the way that the characters were executed, I was like, okay, I'm compelled enough to keep going. It's weird, but in the end, like it puts together this, what's the word, patois of a world that it's engaging enough. Like I want to find out more. The main character, Loloy, I believe it's how it's pronounced, even though like in French it would be Loloy. She runs a food truck, and she's got like a mechanical hand or something. It shows her like dipping something with her hand into the fryer. It was odd, but in a cool way. And she befriends the one brother character, superhuman character. His name is Ash. Like the brother trapped on the moon is Cinder, and the one on the planet is Ash. She befriends Ash. He orders a bowl of noodles at her truck, but then like robots show up like, who is this guy? Arrest him. And he busts out his superpowers, but using his superpowers tires him out, and he passes out, and she puts him in her truck and drives off. But again, like going back to the way that scene is drawn and written, it's like, wait a minute, what the heck happened here? There's some jumping around and whatnot, but as I've said, if you get to the end, it makes sense. So that was a big, hefty book. It was several pages more than I thought it was going to be, just for like a basic first issue of something. But it had this kind of charm to it. It's like, okay, cool, I'll keep going. But anyway, that's what I read this last week. I can't even remember what's coming out this week, but I'm excited for it, at least. Maybe it is Geiger this week, since there's one more week after this in July. I don't know. I woke up like an hour ago, but I'm still not quite awake. Almost to work, so y'all have a great Monday. Drive safe. See you out there.